The next question, right? It was someone who attended last week's sharing and was a little bit did not quite understand clearly. So he said, in your last Q&A, you spoke about 4 steps to prepare for meditation. I am a little lost. Can you elaborate about the 4 steps? Must we sit cross-legged? How to relax the body? And how to slow down the breathing? Because last week I spoke about slowing down the breathing, relaxing the body and slowing down the breathing, but I didn't actually go deep into the actual practice. So this evening's sharing on this, I'm going to do a little bit deeper into the actual practice, the practical aspect of it, okay? So first things first, what is this thing called meditation? It came from this Pali word bhavana. And the word meditation is not a good word. It's really cultivation and development. So bhavana, it is by being conscious all the time that we can control our emotions. The constant practice of being conscious is what the Buddha called development or bhavana. So bhavana, Bhante Punnaji has clearly explained the word bhavana really means development of the mind. And that also helps to develop the body. So by cultivating the mind, then the body can be controlled, right? First, relax the body and then cultivate the mind and develop it. And then we can control our behavior, our sila. So this is really what bhavana is the development of the mind. Okay, I spoke about 4 simple steps to prepare for meditation. So a lot of people ask this question. Says, I try to meditate and I sit there and then my mind starts to run around like a monkey jumping from tree to tree. I sit there and then my body gets very tensed. I sit there and then my mind is agitated. Or I sit there and I get very drowsy. I'm going to fall asleep when I try to meditate, you know. One of the reasons why people experience all these things, what we call the 5 hindrances, it's because they didn't prepare when they start the meditation. They thought, okay, meditation, all right, sit there, right, and straighten my back, close my eyes, observe my breathing, and then after a while, I get drowsy. Or straighten my back, close my eyes, observe my breathing. I'm supposed to meditate 45 minutes, but is it already 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? Is it 45 minutes yet? You know, the mind is agitated and all that because we are not preparing. And there are 4 simple steps to help you get started. First is posture, very important, because if your posture is no good, if you don't have a proper posture, you get either tired, you get agitated, you get very tense, your body has a lot of tension, you may even experience all kinds of pain, right? So first, in posture, there are 3 important things to deal with. The sitting comfortably in a soft posture, that means the way you sit down has to be comfortable. Centralize on sitting bone, and this is where a lot of people go wrong when they do sitting meditation, right? Quite a number of mistakes a lot of people make. For example, they use a meditation cushion that is too soft. When it is too soft, then you are not really sitting on top of your sitting bone. You're sitting on top of the muscles around your sitting bone, and that can cause a lot of numbness and all kinds of pain. Right? So centralize on the sitting bone and then straighten your back. And this is again what a lot of people do, straighten your back. So they tense up the back and they thought, now I'm straightening the back. But actually they are applying tension to the back. I'm going to teach you some techniques to overcome all this. The next thing is relaxation. You must prepare and relax yourself first before you start meditating. A lot of people don't do that. Straight away they want to meditate, they want to focus and observe and pay attention to their breathing, and then they are not relaxed yet. The body is still very tensed. You know, so in other words, you need some time to prepare before you start the meditation. You don't just sit down, close your eyes and meditate and that's it, you know. then you get all kinds of tension, agitation, laziness, drowsiness, and so on. Then breathing. You need to prepare with your breathing. Allow your breathing to flow naturally before you start to meditate. Because if you just came in from outside and you're now breathing hard, you sit down, your breathing will go very hard. You're not actually preparing yourself. So you must allow your breathing to slow down naturally. And I'm going to show you the steps. And finally, when you're ready, only when you are ready with the first 3 steps, then you begin to bring your attention inwards. And do it gently. Just bring your attention inwards. Most likely, you're going to have to close your eyes so that you don't get distracted by what is triggering your sight, your sense of sight. So with your eyes closed, you are able to then focus on other things. So this is really 4 steps. Right? So let's take a look at each one. First, posture. Sit comfortably in a soft posture. Now, this verse, it appears in many sutras. Whenever the Buddha spoke about meditation, he more or less says basically the same thing. He says, here a bhikkhu gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut sits down. Having folded his legs crosswise, set his body erect, established mindfulness in front of him, ever mindful he breathes in. Mindful he breathes out. This is basically the same phrase that the Buddha used throughout in many sutras when he refers to the activity or the process of meditation. So let's examine it one by one. Right? Gone to the forest or to the root of a tree or to an empty hut. Usually they like to meditate in the forest because in ancient times, forests are very quiet places. You don't have vehicles running around. Today, it's no fun. Sometimes you think you want to meditate in a forest and you go to a park or a forest somewhere and you sit down, and before you know it, some people riding on jungle bikes or whatever, they will be going by, brum, 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 going past, disturbing you. Right? Modern days, it's very hard to find a peaceful place to meditate. To the root of a tree. So in those days, again, they go to near the forest. You have a huge tree where you get shelter and then you sit by the root. Or to an empty hut. Empty hut meaning you go to a place like an empty room so that nobody disturbs you and sits down. Now, I want to point out very importantly, during the time of the Buddha in India, and in fact around that time throughout Asia, East Asia, furnitures are not commonly present in houses. Chairs and tables are not common. People sit down on the floor, or maybe they have a small little bench. There are no such thing as a nice little dining table and dining chairs. We don't have, those things are only found in the houses of very wealthy people during the time of the Buddha. So in other words, during the time of the Buddha, 2,500 years ago, the average house does not have a proper dining table, dining chairs, sofa, or living room bench, living room settee. None of those. People sit on the floor. Sometimes they might sit on a stool. And this is why meditation is sitting on the floor, because in those days, there was no chair to sit on. So therefore, I want to point out here, if you have difficulty sitting on the floor, now I never had that difficulty until a couple of years back when I injured my back and I started to have a lot of back pain. So I since then, I was unable to really sit for very long on the floor. Therefore, I have to meditate on the chair. I've chosen now to continue, and it works. When I sit on the chair, I can meditate. When I sit on the floor, it is quite unbearable because of my injury. I have that back injury. Okay. So therefore, those of you who have this problem, It's okay to use a chair, to sit on the chair. You don't really have to sit on the floor, right? Realize that meditation is not about the body. Meditation is about what you do to the mind. So therefore, you can sit down on a chair. If you sit on the floor, of course, you would like to fold your legs crosswise. But if you sit on the chair, you don't have to cross your legs. You just place your legs comfortably, okay? Set his body erect. This means straighten your back, okay? Straightening your back. And then having straightened your back, establish mindfulness in front of him. Basically, you begin to be aware of what is happening, okay? So this is establishing this mindfulness. You become aware of your bodily condition, your feelings, and how you feel, and with every bodily sensation, the feelings, and ever mindful, breathe in, mindful, breathe out. I'm going to show you later on what Pandit Punnaji says about these things, okay? So it's very important that this is basically the same instruction throughout many sutras, okay? So when you sit on the chair, for instance, always sit with your back straight and not slouch. Now, I'm going to explain later on also, not lean back, because when you lean back, it does something to you. I'll explain that later. So you must sit straight and not lean back onto the back of a chair. You know, in other words, if you have a nice armchair, you can lean back. Don't use that, because when you try to meditate like that, you're going to fall asleep. So the correct posture is your back is straight and you sit down. Very importantly, always keep the back straight. There's no alternative to that. So keep your back straight, and let's listen to what Pandit Punnaji has to say about that.
Meditation is not something that you do with your body. Meditation is something that you do with your mind. That's the first thing to understand. And the other thing is, one very important thing about this meditation is that if you keep your back straight, whether you are standing or whether you are sitting or even when you are lying down, to keep your back straight. That is very important, because it brings all the parts of the body in the proper position, so that the mind can be kept in the proper way when the body is in that erect position. So when you sit, the important thing is to sit with your back straight. That's the important thing. And so that how you have your legs, whether you fold your legs or whether you straighten your legs, or all that is just in order to keep your back straight. So if you can keep your back straight, now during the time of the Buddha, and especially people in India, they always sat on the floor. In India, they didn't have these chairs to sit on. These chairs really came after the Westerners or the British came. Otherwise, the Indian people were mainly sitting on the floor. And so, this is why that cross-legged position. But nowadays, because people are more used to sitting on chairs, I think sitting on the chair and somehow keeping your leg in a proper position is the best thing. The main thing is to keep your back straight. That is the important thing there. But there is one important thing that I noticed when in my own practice in meditation, was that if you sit on the floor with that cross-legged, what is called the lotus position, or even the half lotus position, you can remain in that position for a long period without trouble, but you have to get used to it. Only if you are used to it, that benefit is there. So that can be helpful, but still you can sit on a chair and do it. That is the important thing. The main thing is keeping the mind purified, not the body. The body will become purified when the mind is purified.
Bande Punaji said that it is not about purifying the body. The body will be purified when the mind is purified, meaning that the body will become relaxed and tranquil and comfortable and peaceful when your mind is tamed, your mind is stilled, right? Now, so basically, it is really about keeping the back straight. That's very important, and not lean back towards the back of the chairs. So do be careful when you meditate, and also be careful not to sit on a cushion that is too soft. Don't sit on a sofa that is very soft. Find a firm chair. It can be wooden, but perhaps a very thin padding is better. Otherwise, it might be a bit too hard. So keep the back straight is the most important thing to do. So very importantly, how do we keep the back straight, and what is the position? There is a sitting bone you have to be aware of, which is at the bottom of your pelvic bone. And I won't go into the detailed scientific explanation of bone structures, but if you can see in the first picture on the right side there, these two persons, one person with the back not straightened, and then he's not sitting on the sitting bone. He's at the back of the sitting bone. It gets very tiring and painful. But if you have your back straight, then you're sitting right on top of the sitting bone. What you can do is when you sit on the chair, now especially not a chair with very soft cushion, it has to be either a wooden chair or something with a very thin layer of cushion, right? Not soft, something thin, so they can actually feel you rock your butt a little bit, and then you can realize where you're right on top of the sitting bone, and then you can straighten your back on that spot. Right? There's a sweet spot. Once you roll your buttocks until you hit that sweet spot, it becomes very easy to straighten your back, right? And you won't get so tired so easily. Right? So these are the various positions you have to watch out for. Don't curve your backbone. Keep it straight, right? And I'm going to show you a technique, very easy. Straighten your back naturally without, with this shoulder exercise. Now, when people say, keep your back straight or straighten your back, what do most people do? They apply some tension, and then, they use muscles to pull back and straighten the back. That's not a good way of doing it. If you roll your butt a bit until you're sitting right on top of your sitting bone to straighten your back without exerting tensions, here is a simple little technique. First, right, you roll your shoulder forward 3 times, gently. Don't do it very hard. Do it very gently, 3 times and slowly as you breathe in. After breathing in on the 3rd time, you let go your breath, right? Then pause and let go your breath. Next, you do the reverse. Roll your shoulder back 3 times slowly, and you will start to hear, for those of you who don't do this often, you will start to hear your shoulders going crack, 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 crack. And that's good, because then you are actually loosening the joint. Then you become very relaxed. So you roll your shoulder back 3 times as you breathe in, pause for a moment, and then exhale and release your breath. The 3rd one, you repeat what was done in number 1. Roll forward 3 times as you breathe in. And on the 3rd time, you pause your breath a moment, and then you exhale. Now your shoulders are loosened. And on the 4th one, very gently and softly, don't exert too much effort, raise it up, pull it back slightly, and just allow it to drop down. Notice that when you do that, your back is now perfectly straight, right? So let's repeat this one more time, right? Sit on your sitting bone. Now, step 1, roll it forward 3 times gently as you breathe in. And on the 3rd time, pause for a moment and exhale. Gently, don't have to put too much effort. Now roll it backwards 3 times. And breathing in. On the 3rd time, pause for a moment and exhale. Repeat the first time, roll forward 3 times. Breathing in. Pause and exhale. Now gently raise it up, pull it back slightly, and just allow it to drop down. And you find yourself, your back is now perfectly straight, right? So this is how you can straighten your back using a shoulder exercise in a very natural way without exerting much effort. You don't have to use muscle to straighten your back. Most people make the mistake. When we say straighten your back, what do? They use their shoulder muscle to pull back and straighten the back. That is not good, because when you use your shoulder muscle to pull back and straighten your back, you are now very tensed. And if you try to meditate with that tension, then you will find yourself getting tired or experiencing some kind of pain, right? So first, I hope this exercise helps, right? And for those of you who try this and it doesn't seem to work, okay, you don't have to do this, then you find another way, whatever way it is that you straighten your back. But I assure you, if you try this out properly, give it a chance, and you will realize this actually works. It allows you to straighten your back very gently and naturally without exerting tension. It's just a simple little shoulder exercise. And it also loosens your shoulder. So now your shoulder is feeling very loosened, supple, and soft. Then you can meditate longer, right? Next, when you have now straightened your back and sit in a comfortable posture, you need to now release tensions in your muscle. There are many muscles throughout the body, and we need to just scan through it, right? Starting from the scalp, right? And then to the forehead. When you sense there's any tension, just consciously release the tension. If you feel your forehead a bit tense, just release the tension. And eye socket, if you feel the eye socket is a bit tense, just release the tension. And your cheek, release the tension. That's one group. The next group is the jaw, the teeth, and the tongue. So now if you feel that the jaw is all tensed up, just release the tension. Sometimes teeth are clenched and biting against each other, release the tension. Sometimes your tongue is pressed hard up against the palate, just release and gently touch the upper palate. You know, your tongue can be touching the upper palate, but not press against it. So this is your upper palate. Your tongue can be just touching it. It's okay. Whereas when we are tense, the tongue is pressed hard against it. So release the tension. And then your neck and your shoulder, just roll it a little bit and release your tension. You have already released it on the shoulders. Now you release it on the neck, right? So this next part is the shoulder and the neck and your upper torso, right? So just allow your upper torso, your shoulder to drop down and just relax. And then your chest, if you feel your chest is a bit tight and tense, just relax and release the tension. And your stomach, sometimes your stomach is all clenched up, and abdomen, just release the tension so that now you feel much more relaxed. Similarly, you start to work on your arms, right? Your arms and your hand. So just release the tension, and your palm and your finger, just let go the tension. Now, how do we place our hand? It's really up to you. There is no fixed way of putting the hand. Of course, in a lot of images, you will see right hand over left with the thumb. Well, if you find that comfortable resting on your lap, then fine, do that. Some people like myself who is a bit broad, that is not a very comfortable thing. I would just rest both hands on the lap. So you can rest both hands on the lap facing up, or you can rest them facing down, or if you want, just gently one on top of the other. You may or may not need to join your thumb. It's up to you. With whatever you find comfortable, whatever is relaxing for you. You have to find your own groove. You have to find, you know, your own flow. How you feel it is comfortable and relaxing. So how you place your hand, it is not important. Like Bhante said, it is not about the body. It's about cultivating the mind. As long as, importantly, two things: your body must be relaxed, and your back must be straight. And that's all there is. Straighten your back, relax your body, and all this will help to relax your body. And then, of course, the lower back and the buttocks, your sitting bone contact, your thighs. Now, the thigh is very important, especially those who are sitting on the floor. Sometimes your cushion might be a bit too hard or too soft, then your thigh will get very tired, right? On those sitting on the chair, like I said, don't sit on a chair with very soft cushions. Then your thighs will get very tired. And those of you who might be a bit on the short side, so when you sit on a chair, let's say you meditate on a chair, then your legs might be a bit short because you may not be a very tall person. Let's say if your height is below 5'4", let's say you're 5 feet or 5'1", 5'2", usually the chair might be a bit high, so your lap will be pointing down, and that's not good. Put something underneath so that your lap, right, your thigh is horizontal. So place something so that your feet is rested on it and keeping your thigh horizontal, right? If your thigh is drooping down, it can be very tiring on the bottom side of your thigh. If your thigh is pointing up, in the case of a very tall person, then the back of the backbone might be very tiring. So for tall people, you might need a higher chair, right? If you want to meditate on a chair. For short people, you might need to have something where you rest your feet so that your thigh is not pointing down, but horizontal. Okay. And then finally, your knee and your calf and your feet and your toes. Just when you sense there is any tension, release the tension and relax. So that will make you feel very relaxed, and then you are ready to meditate. Right? So these are all very helpful hints. Now that you have relaxed the body, straightened your back, the next thing you need to do is to beware. Right? Now I want to explain to you this thing called the reticular activating system. This is a part of your brain. I'll just go through this. Reticular activating system is in the brain. There is a set of neurons, the reticular formation. It is the longest set of neurons in the brain that stretches from various parts of the brain straight down your spinal cord, okay, to various parts of your body. So this reticular activating system, or RAS, regulates between three things: between relaxation, arousal, and sleep. Right? It regulates between these three, switching between the mental states of emotional, reactive, stress, arousal, agitation, tension. The second one is relaxation, alertness, what we call in the zone. And the third one is falling asleep. So in other words, it is sensing what's going on in your body, sending signals to your brain, causing your brains to react in a certain way. So this emotional activation arouses the amygdala and causes hormones to be released and cause you to be emotionally reactive. So you must not have any tension in the body. That's why you need relaxation, conscious relaxation. Otherwise, tensions in the body can trigger emotional activation. So you have to be aware because of this reticular activating system. And conscious relaxation activates the opposite, the parasympathetic nervous system, which leads to a relaxed state. Right? Now, you have to be careful. This relaxed state can also go wrong if you are over-relaxed, meaning you lean your back on the back of a chair. So in other words, you put a cushion at the back and you lean against the back of a chair. Now you're feeling very comfortable. Sure, but that will trigger sleep. Why? You see, reticular activating system is the set of nerves that go throughout your body and senses various parts of your body. So when you have a cushion, a back, and you are leaned against the back of a chair, it senses that you are now ready to sleep. That's what it's trying to sense. It's the same as lying down. That's why if you try to meditate lying down, very likely you're going to fall asleep. So if you have cushions at the back and you lean against the back, chances are it will trigger this reticular activating system, sending signals to your brain and say, it's time to sleep. And then you get very drowsy, you get very sleepy. So therefore, it is very important to realize this reticular activating system will react in 3 different ways. Emotionally reactive because of tensions, consciously relaxed and alert because of relaxation, or sleep and rest state. That means over relaxation, over relaxed, then you become sleepy and drowsy if there is too much of signals that it's time to sleep, like leaning against a cushion at the back. So never put something at the back and lean against. Don't do that. So this is why, realizing this, now you know, do not do that. Do not put cushion at the back, lean against the wall and say, I'm going to meditate. Most likely you're going to doze off. You will experience sloth and torpor, right? Tina mida. You're going to experience that. So emotionally reactive is udacha kukucha. And sleep state is tina mida. So you are actually triggering the 5 hindrances, right? So you need to consciously relax by straightening your back and then commanding various parts of your body to just release the tension. And then you are in the state where you are in the zone, okay? So I hope that is clear. Now you know why. Do not be too tensed and do not be over-relaxed when you try to meditate. Now you go to your breathing. Consciously allow breathing to slow down, which helps to relax the body and calm the mind. But do not exert effort. The key word is allow. And allow using LSD breathing. L for long. That means you slow down your breathing, take longer, 4 to 5 seconds each way. That means breathing in 4 or 5 seconds, breathing out 4 or 5 seconds. If you're doing this for the first time, 4 seconds is fine, because we normally breathe much less than that. Ask yourself now, as you are breathing, what is the rate you're breathing? Most people right now are breathing 2, the most 3 seconds each way. Now you lengthen it a little bit to 4 or 5 seconds. If you are doing it for the first time, 4 seconds is fine. So allow the breathing to go longer, and then as it goes longer, then slow it down by letting it flow smoothly. So allow it to flow naturally and smoothly. And then only when it is slow enough, you begin to take deeper breath. So let's try that. First, as you breathe in, just allow it to go longer. Breathing in 4 seconds, and then breathing out 4 seconds. Breathing in 4 seconds, and then breathing out 4 seconds. Just allow that. Do that. Do it on your own, at your own pace. Allow it to go a little longer first. First, allow it to go longer. And after a while, I'm going to speed this up a bit. Otherwise, it might take 10 minutes. So this can take a few minutes. It is not something you can do within 1 minute. It might take 3, 4, or even 5 minutes for your breathing to normalize to slow breathing. You want your breathing to become natural and slow. That's important, because that slow breathing will activate this parasympathetic nervous system in your body, make you feel very relaxed and not tensed. So just allow it to slow down. And as it slows down, let it flow naturally. And as it flows naturally, after a while, then you begin to take slightly deeper breath. Breathe in a bit more. And then when you release, release a bit more. Don't overdo it. Don't exert. Right? The key word is allow. Do not exert effort. Just allow. Let it flow smoothly. So this is how we practice LSD breathing. The key word is allow and not exert effort to force it. Don't force it. If you can, allow it 4 seconds. And once you practice this for some time, make it 5 seconds, right? And when you become very good at it, if you have done this many, many times already, you can even stretch it to 6 seconds. Depends, in my case, most of the time I do 5 and sometimes 6 seconds. I don't do longer than that. There's no need to go longer than that because this is a natural process. Naturally, we don't normally breathe longer than that. In a very natural way, 5 seconds to 6 seconds is pretty good already, okay? So I hope that is clear now with this breathing. Now, we come to the point that when you begin to meditate, you may experience pain. You may experience tensions causing various pains and whatever. So listen to what Bhante Pudanji has to say about this. Give me a second while I start the video. So Bhante basically was saying that if you learn to relax properly, you will less likely feel the pain. Okay, there are a number of reasons why pain arises. One of them is your sitting posture. If you are not sitting properly on top of your sitting bone, then you will get a lot of pain in the pelvic region and in the buttocks area. Okay. And another is the position of the posture, the position of your thighs. If a person who is short, so your thigh is pointing down, right, instead of horizontal, then you will get a lot of pain underneath your thigh, right, the lower part of your thighs. If you're a tall person and you're sitting on a chair that is a little bit not high enough, your thigh will be pointing up. Then you get a lot of pain at the back of the thigh, right, at the far end of the thigh. So there are many reasons why you get pain. So sitting posture is one of them. Sitting on the sitting bone, right? Another is that you didn't straighten your back properly. You apply tension to straighten your back. So now you have a lot of tensions in your back and your neck. You will get a lot of tensions in the shoulder, and then you start to feel some pain in your shoulder, right? And another is people who are on the large side, like myself. Okay, people who are on the large side and they try to force themselves to meditate by sitting on the floor. Then they will, when they cross their leg, people who are very chubby and they try to cross their leg, they will get a lot of tensions around the leg area because their body structure is not designed to meditate on the floor. It's better for people who are large. If you have a lot of experience, a lot of pain, there are large people who don't experience pain when they sit on the floor to meditate. But if you're large and you experience pain, then try to meditate on the chair. That could help a lot. Try that first, okay? And also some people who don't put enough cushions, too many or too few. So, large people who want to meditate on the floor, they might need higher cushions on the floor, right? Because the body size is bigger, the thighs are thicker, so you might need more cushions. So all that make a difference. The way you place your hand. Now I want to give you an example. I once went to a place, I won't mention the place. I went to a place and gave a Dharma talk in the Philippines. And this is a group of people who meditate regularly. Well, they try to. And then somebody point out to me and say, oh, this particular brother, he's a very good meditator. He's an excellent meditator. So I wasn't there to talk about meditation. So I was just talking about other things, some Dharma sharing. But we spent the last 15 minutes doing simple meditation, so that we end the session with a simple meditation session. And I saw this person, people say he's a very good meditator. And what did he do? He sat very perfectly with the perfect full lotus on crossing the legs and full lotus. That is fine. That is great, because Bhante did say that if you sit in a lotus pose, then you're more likely to keep your back straight and you're more likely not to topple. So you can be very steady. And that is a good thing. However, I saw the way he placed his hand. Normally, the hand would be rested on the thigh, right? Lap, right? And it could be right over left, like that. But what I saw him do was his hand was actually halfway up his body. So it is actually mid-air. It is not rested on the lap. And I could see from the way he was pressing his hand, very tensed. You know, his hands were very tight and very tense. I could see even the tendency, I could see the tension in his hand. And I'm puzzled. Why are they saying that he's such a good meditator? Because he made himself look like a statue. That's why. The way he sat in this very strong and tight pose, he really looked like a statue. And that's why people thought, oh, he's a very good meditator because he sat like a statue. Right? So meditation is not about sitting like a statue. Meditation is about relaxing and at the same time straightening your back and then stilling the mind. Meditation is about developing the mind. It's not about perfecting the body. Right? So that is an important point I would like to say. So basically, there you have it. These are all the techniques and tips. I hope that question has been answered. The 4 steps, and then only when you have finished number 3, allow the breathing to slow down. Now you're ready to bring your attention inwards. And for those who are novice or early stages in learning meditation, better to do it with your eyes closed. And there is a meditation technique called open awareness, where you leave your eyes open, but that is not so much for the beginners. That's for people who have already tried out meditation for some time. Now they want to train their attention, right? Train their awareness and attention. Then they will do this open awareness, okay? So close your eyes and bring your attention inwards and observe the breathing. Don't control the breathing, just observe it, right? By this time, don't try and breathe slower yourself, because you are already breathing slower naturally, okay? So there you have it. These are the 4 simple steps to prepare for meditation. So I hope this has been helpful. Thank you very much.